In this exercise, we'll be customizing our fonts using CSS. I'm going to start by just doing a general font for the whole page. So we'll attach that to the body selector. I do have my CSS Designer tab open with my external style sheet selected. Let me go down to my selectors and just highlight the body selector. And from the panels, I'm just going to use the text properties. Now I'm going to go down to font family and just select here. And we do have our standard fonts for web, but you can now actually load external fonts that come from a font farm. So I'm just going to click on Manage Fonts to access those. And you can see here they are categorized, or you can just scroll through everything. But if I go down here, I'm actually going to narrow it to the sans serif. And let's see here. Maybe I'll just pick this first one. Just click it and it checks off, and I click Done. Now it doesn't apply when you do that. What you're doing there is you're actually loading it in your list. So I need to go back to the list of available fonts, and there it is right there. So I can select it now, and that will apply. Now the thing here is I can't see it preview here unless I go to live mode. So I'm going to switch out of design mode. It was okay when I started, but it's not serving me well now. So let's switch that over to live mode. And voila. There you have it. Now you can see a fairly accurate representation of what you would see in the browser. And you can also see the background image that we'd previously put in. So there's that font there. And I think we'll do a couple more changes. But I just want to show you in the code view where it's linking to. That font is actually being accessed using JavaScript from edgefonts.net. And you can see the code right there inside of the head. Okay, so now let's see. Maybe we'll do a layout change. I'll go over to my layouts here and I'll change the height. Actually, I think I'd previously done that, but let me show you how. I changed it to 100%. So you click on percent and then you can click in here and just type in the numbers 100%. And I click my return key to accept that. Now I'm also going to set the margins to 0. Just by clicking in here, it's a shortcut. I can go one side at a time, but if I click in here and just type 0 and hit my return key, and now the margins are set to 0. If I click over here, you can sort of see the outline indicating the body. And that takes care of some minor details on the layout. I'm going to go back though. I'm going to actually assign a property to the H1 tag. There it is there. I've selected it. Now I'm going to go and create a new selector for that. Now I don't want to be so specific, so I'm just going to delete everything except the H1 and hit my enter key. Now with that selected, I will come down to my text properties again and we'll select the font. Now this one, I think I'm going to go with something fairly bold. So let's go to Manage Fonts. And we'll go to these ones here called, what are they called? Slab fonts. Okay, and let's see here, something fairly bold. Well, why don't we just go with this one called Alpha Slab. And I click Done. And then I select it from the list. There it is there, Alpha Slab. And let's just make the font size, where is it here, font size. We're going to use M's. M's is probably the better unit to use because it's relative and it will apply to mobile phones as well as desktop as well as iPads and so on. So let's just choose M's. And let me try 2 to start with. 2 M's, hit my enter key. And that's looking pretty good. I'll just try another size to make sure that I made the right choice here. I'll try 4 and hit enter there. And yeah, that's way too big. So we will go back to the 2. And hit my enter key. And maybe I'll just adjust the line height as well. And I'll use M's for that too. And let's see here, maybe 1, usually less than the font size is better. 1 and enter. Yeah, and that works for me. Okay, so that takes care of the H1 tag. And let's see. Oh, actually, you know what? One more thing. I want to center that. So let's go to text align here and center it. Okay, there we are. Now I'm going to go to the next line down, the H2, so I can just click on it in my design view. And let's make a new selector for that. Again, not so specific, so I'll delete everything but the H2. That's known as a compound selector when it's specific like you just saw there. So H2 is now selected. I am on my text properties. Once again, we'll go down to the font family. And let's load up another font here. Actually, I have one here called Able. I'm going to try that. And let's see here. Maybe I'll go down to font size again. And let's see here. We'll go to my, oh, sorry. Click away for a second. Click that again. And choose M's. And I'll try to start with. Hit my enter key. And I don't know, maybe a little bit smaller. Maybe I'll try 1.5. 1.5, hit my enter key. And yeah, that works better for me. And I'm just going to center that as well. Okay, so I've changed the font size and I've changed the alignment. Of course, changed the font as well. Let's just do a save all. Save all will save the style sheet as well as the HTML. And we can continue from here. And I think really all I'm going to address now is the footer. So if I highlight the footer here, and once again create a selector, and just make it less specific, non-compound, just the footer specified. And I'm just going to change the size, I think, on here. And we'll make that small. And sorry, I will also make it align center. There we go. If I click away, you sort of get a good idea. I'll do a save all once again. And there we have it. So just to summarize, let me just open this panel up a bit more here. We now have the different styles that we can access and change and control them using our CSS designer over here. And you can see the properties for the various tags that have been generated. And that coincides with what you see on the style sheet here. So you can also manually change them here, and it would be reflected over here in the panel. So you sort of have two ways. You can do it manually here, or you can use the CSS designer that comes with Dreamweaver. And there is the basics on how to apply CSS styles to text on a web page.